hopefully he'll get through.
I just turned the recording on.
Okay. I'll go ahead and call the meeting of the regular scheduled November meeting of the Houston Land Bank. It is 12:02 on November 12th. Thank you all for being here. We'll start off with roll call. Director Castillo. Looks like he's still trying to connect, so we'll come back to him. Director Collins.
Here.
Director Danda.
Here.
Director Hall. I believe he'll be late. Director Galloway.
Here.
Thank you. Director Jackson. Don't see her yet. Director Johnson Rose.
Present.
Thank you. Director Lampley.
Present.
Good to see you. Director Mondragon.
Howdy, howdy.
How you doing?
Good.
Director Vasquez.
Present.
Thank you. Director Vignot will not be joining us today. Director Zeiss is present. Ex officio Director Stoneham.
Present.
Hello. Advisory Committee, Director Florian.
Present.
Hello. Director Marquez.
Here.
Hello. Director Williams.
Present.
And Director Dale.
Present.
Thank you for joining us. Looks like we have a quorum, so moving on. Item number 2, public speakers. I believe we have 2 on the agenda.
Yes, there may be a third. One is registered to speak. Ms.
Okay.
Fiona Davis, who I believe was here.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I am here. It's Kiana Davis.
Kiana, I'm sorry.
Hello. So yes, I live on Sparta Street in the Setagast community. So that's Northeast. And my concern is that you all, the land bank owns or maintains about 13 properties on that street. And they have not been frequently checked on. There's a lot of illegal dumping on some of those lots. I do want to acknowledge, I see them on the call, Miss Mary Barbara, Miss Allison. I've talked to them several times about the things that are happening on that street. They have been pretty quick to respond and get those lawns cut and, the dumpings as fast as possible. But I'm just asking that something else gets done because of the illegal dumping. It brings in animals and things of that nature that just are not very attractive to the neighborhood. So I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming to us and bringing that to our attention. And we'll definitely look at different options to make sure that that's taken care of. I know illegal dumping and lot maintenance is something we talk about on a weekly basis and trying to find creative solutions to stop that. But we'll definitely give more attention to Sparta Lane, make sure it's cleaned up. It looks like Director Jackson has joined us as well.
Hey, Director Zeiss, do you mind if I ask our guest a follow-up question?
Please.
Is it Kiana? I'm sorry. Kiana. Okay. Hey, do you have any? Is there any inclinations or guesses on the source of the dumping? Is it somebody local, somebody coming from another community? Any sort of
that I'm not aware of. I don't think a lot of people on the street have like cameras or anything to try to catch who those people are. But usually it might be like some builders that area is developing a lot. So it's usually a lot of building materials. There's a lot of trees and stuff that have been cut down. And then most recently, which was a big concern for me, was I saw like some canisters that looked like they had chemicals in them. And of course, that being dumped into the groundwater, so on and so forth. Just so for the safety of the neighborhood, we want to stop that if possible.
Not a good recipe for a strong community. Gotcha. Thank you for sharing.
I would like to ask a question as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you for coming and bringing this to our attention. I'm sure that you perhaps have called 311 in regards to the illegal dumping.
Yes, 311 is who I called originally. When I first moved into the neighborhood about 2 years ago, nothing really got done. So, I mean, I'm an educator, so I just go straight to the source. So that's when I originally reached out to Miss Allison, and she was super duper helpful. and got the lot that was directly next to me cleaned up. And then it started happening in the lots that are in front of my home and then down the road a little bit. And then I just called the office back and Miss Mary Barbara helped out.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I'm sure glad you're moving to the neighborhood because this is going to be one of the areas that we're going to be improving and I will complete in building homes. And if you know of any persons who are interested in having a home on some of the property that's land bank owned, that sure would be helpful because we'll be able to build them a home if they meet the criteria. And
Okay.
are you a part of any civics club if in the area in Senegal?
No, ma'am, not yet.
Okay, all right then, because I really want the community to know about the improvements we are going to be making in the area because that's one of the mayor's top priorities for
Okay.
improvement in the city gas area. So thank you for thinking about coming into the community to help make it better.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you for all of the work that you guys do.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Kiana. It's Jen Allison. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you.
Thank you as
So
well.
you have my personal number, at least you should, because I've given it to you.
Yes.
We have guys that are out there. They're out there on a consistent basis. I think when we spoke before, if you see the illegal dumping, if you would call me immediately and then we can get it taken care of. Since they're out there only on a schedule, if something happens within that schedule, we won't know about it.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
like I've said on a million occasions, we are there to be a good neighbor. I am serious about being your good neighbor, and whatever we can do, we will do it.
Yes, thank you so much. I think I just, reported there's some recent dumpings across, not the property that we've talked about before that's, next to me, but across from me. That Miss Mary Barbara said that she's gonna have someone come out and get that taken care of.
Okay, but please shoot me a text if it's in the middle of the night, it doesn't matter. And first thing in the morning, Ann knows I work all night. So the first thing in the
Don't do
morning,
that.
I will look into it and Ron will be out there to take care of it.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much.
And sorry about that.
No, it's not your
Yeah.
fault.
And we're really excited that you're a part of this conversation. Actually, when Mario Castillo, our secretary, talks about some of the conversations we've had with lawn maintenance, certainly that's the Sedagas neighborhood seems to get a lot more illegal dumping than some of our other neighborhoods, and it's something we want to be very proactive about. We'd love your suggestions, especially if we decided to pilot some cameras on some of our lots. Which lots we should target to pilot that. And certainly please let us know as soon as you see something. And we will try and increase our visits out there so that we've got more eyes on the street more frequently.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. I'm going to have to hop back off. It's the middle of the school day, so I need to get back to work. But thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'd like to make a suggestion.
Sure.
That, in addition to our due diligence, I think it would serve us well to work with the local council member's office, and they may be able to install cameras. That's a function that often is employed under these situations where there's repetitive dumping, particularly in a given concentrated area. And so that may be another avenue to curtail that activity and prosecute someone for dumping as well.
Absolutely.
Well, I would like to tell Mr. Lampley, dear, that is a very good suggestion, but we don't have no cameras. That's what we have been trying to get done. Alan Rosen, the constable, has the camera. And so that's what we trying to get placed right now, just in the Cashmere Garden area on Cavalcade, but with all this illegal dumping on the main thoroughfare. And the city doesn't have them. So they'll have to buy them, purchase them. But we've been trying to work and get this camera set up in many places, but they don't have them available for us. So I just want to let you know it's going on. Okay.
Well, I guess it was part of a previous program then, because they've had cameras in the past.
Right. I was able to get, Lakewood Church was able to donate 2 cameras to District B. But those cameras are obsolete now because that's been almost 20 years ago. So they don't have them anymore because at the time the city didn't have but one camera for the old city when I came on council. But now the constables has taken over that project, and they are the ones has all the cameras and setting them up. So I don't know if Sedigas is in precinct 1. I'll have to check and see, but the constables, those areas have the cameras. Never County is doing that for us.
Okay, just a suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you. Good suggestions. Moving on, item number 3, or no more public speakers, correct?
There was a late registrant for Alicia Walker, Ms. Alicia Walker, who I don't believe is on the call unless I missed it coming in.
She did register as a speaker, I think.
She did register, but I don't see her. Did
Oh, no,
she-
she registered, but she didn't wish to speak during the meeting. She
Okay.
just wanted to attend.
Okay, thank you. Item number 3, adoption of the minutes from the October 8th, 2020 regular meeting. It was in your board packet. Is there a motion?
Move to
So
approve.
move.
Okay, well, motion by Director Galloway, a second by Director Mondragon.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, Chairman's greeting. I just have a few things. First, yesterday was Veterans Day, and I want to thank the veterans that are serving our board and our staff. Pastor Hall, who's not here yet, Director Collins for your service, and Ivan Zapata for his service as well. And for all the family members of veterans, I know that service is not just an individual thing, it's definitely a family affair. So if you have sisters or daughters or brothers or parents that served in the military, thank you for your service as well. And also Thanksgiving is coming up. So I hope it's going to be a very different Thanksgiving in 2020, but I hope everybody has a safe Thanksgiving, is able, at least able to talk to their family members and loved ones, and give thanks for all that we have in this year and in next year. To that end, after Thanksgiving, we are going to have a special meeting on December 10th of the board meeting. We don't usually have a board meeting in December, but we have so much going on. I feel like we can't wait till January. So we are going to have a December meeting on December 10th at noon. So put that on your calendars for next month. And that is all I have. So we'll move on to committee reports. 5A, Director Bignot is not with us today, and the Finance Committee did not meet, so she does not have a report. 5B, the Program Committee, Director Lampley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Program Committee has reviewed the recommendations from the RFQ or Review Committee, which includes staff, myself, and recommended to the board for approval 6 of the 13 builders that applied based on scoring and interview responses who applied under the Houston Land Bank RFQ for Builders 2020. Please note that the builders are listed on the agenda in item 7A and will be read into the record when presented for a vote. These builders will be eligible to be on the approved list of builders under the traditional program for the years 20 through 22. In addition, the Program Committee has been working with staff on creating a revised program where remaining lots from the old right of first refusal program can be sold pursuant to the new revised guidelines. This program is projected to have approximately 4 eligible lots that will be sold and addresses alleviating some of the previous concerns with the old program. So we may get that to you in December. Hopefully we can. The Program Committee continues to research and look into the lumber material pricing issues and brainstorm ways that the organization can address these topics with our current builders. And that concludes my report for the month.
Thank you, Director Lampley. Item C, Oversight Committee, Director Castillo.
Thank you, Chair. the Oversight Committee met on November 5th to begin our review of the lot maintenance contract. This is intended to be a thorough and comprehensive review, and I think one of our biggest takeaways was that we just need a little more time to complete it. And our goal is that in January, we will complete the review that will look at how much money has been spent versus the budget that was approved by the board for this contract, taking a look at any potential or any DOM violations that have occurred versus what we have received in the past, and looking at the cycle that we set for the cuts and how the vendors are performing. So we're going to continue this through December and then come back to the board in January with our thorough and transparent review, and then make any proposed recommendations to changes as we move forward when this contract will be up for review. So that's my report for today, but I'm happy to answer any questions that folks may have, and look forward to providing full details to everyone in January.
Thank you, Director Seal. Item D, the Partnerships Committee, I don't believe met. I don't believe there's a report for this month.
Correct.
Item number 6, President's Report. President Haynes.
Unmute. Okay. First of all, hello, everyone. I can't remember, Matt, if you mentioned, but there have been some birthdays in our midst. I just did notice that John David had a birthday yesterday. So happy birthday. And I hope I didn't miss anyone else who may have had a birthday in the month of November. I am certainly getting into the holiday spirit, and I just, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, want to thank everyone, staff and board of directors, who've committed a lot of time and a lot of energy, all of the issues, both on the agenda this month, but ultimately in the last few months. So thank you all. All of your work is really tremendously recognized and appreciated. So just some quick updates on my screen. I have the actual president's report that's in the board packet. I did, want to mention some highlights. We've got a lot of things on the agenda, so I'm not going to go through every detail in the report today. I did make a presentation to the Greater Houston Community Foundation a couple of weeks ago on a panel about housing issues, and starting to talk a lot about our initiatives and certainly our lot sales and providing affordable homes under 2 programs. It was a nice representation from advocacy groups to research groups to CDCs. So it was a full conversation to a very regional group of stakeholders for the Community Foundation. I do know that Board Director Victor Mondragon presented to the Charla Comunitaria, and excuse my accent, in Spanish about the Houston Land Bank's work. And actually Matt Zeiss, I did not put this in the report, and it should have been in the report, made a presentation, I believe, to the Leadership Houston group. And again, I think this is important and continue to be important that all of you all are up to date on as much information as possible to speak to many of the organizations you participate in about the good work of the organization. I want to bring you up to speed. This was mentioned before, but we have been continuing to look for resources to help us support our current and future activities. We submitted a federal grant to the U.S. EPA Brownfields program as a part of a coalition with the City of Houston and Avenue CDC. The resources would be available to ourselves, to our partners, as well as to individual property owners that are looking at environmental issues that they might find on their properties. Although these resources would be available citywide, the application was written with some of the focus complete communities. Krista Stoneham, Director Stoneham, was very helpful in terms of working with all the planning leaders of the different complete communities reports. So we had a pretty extensive database of potential projects and sites. That said, once we receive word on the grant, which would be March at the earliest, we would then set up an advisory council that would work with us to identify potential projects for those types of resources. many land banks around the country do have this type of resource available. We also submitted as a supporting role to the a grant applied to JP Morgan Chase Foundation, the My Connect community group in Gulfton, looking very much at what a land bank role might be in a very unique neighborhood of Houston, which is a complete community. And again, as soon as we hear more about that opportunity, we will keep you posted. We had a great ad hoc strategic planning conversation to sort of put some meat on the bones of some of the ideas and goals for the next couple of years. We anticipate another ad hoc planning session before we bring it back to the board for discussion and approval, hopefully, of a strategic plan for the next 2 years. You know, staff, our dashboard this month, we've really been focused quite a bit on some of the potential acquisitions that we have on the agenda today. Acquisitions, as well as some of the properties we'd like to continue to pursue for the Houston Land Bank purposes. We have quite a few touches to home buyers through the 2 affordable home programs. This month we have approximately 33. We had 6 lot closed from prior board approval of our lot disposition program, and 6 houses sold. Those this month were primarily the new home development program houses, of which we only have 1 home left in our inventory. I believe there's about 23 under construction by the city of the new home development program that in a couple of months we will have in our inventory to sell. I should have had this as 3 partner presentations. I apologize, Matt, for missing you on that one. And we have about 89 properties through the 2 programs under development. And again, more details we could go through in the report, but I believe that based on all of the things that are happening on this agenda and in the interest of time, I'm going to leave it there for questions.
No questions? No questions? That sounds good. So you said 23 houses in the pipeline from NHDP. Is that all going to hit in November, December, or is it through the next 3 months? Do we have an idea of when we'll take possession of those in?
I believe Anderson Stout may be on the call, but to speak to the details, I know that Ron Butler and Jen Allison did a walkthrough of a 33% construction on a number of homes in the past week. So those would be in a couple of months, let's say. There are 5 that were further along in development, but have been stalled most recently. So I don't know about those, but those would be the first ones that would come to us. We're working diligently with the housing department on kind of a series of pre-sales marketing opportunities where we could actually start to get some of those houses in the pipeline under contract, even before they're finished construction, even though they wouldn't be sold until after construction. But that has not been, we haven't pushed go on that yet. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Chairman Zayas, it's Jen.
Yes.
So to answer your question, there are 5 that are Crown Ridge that are a little stuck in limbo. Out of the newer phase, there's 1 that is a Crown Ridge that is still in phase 2 that's still stuck in permitting since about 1.5 years ago. We have Excello homes. I have 4, 5, 6. I have 8 that are 66% complete as of 2 weeks ago. So they are just about finished this week. They're moving very fast. They have 4 Excello homes that got NTP'd last week. They are expected to start construction soon, and the 8 that I just mentioned that are Excello should be ready and available for sale and within the next like 2 weeks.
Good.
And that 1 that's still in inventory is actually sold. They were holding on 1 document that they needed. The young lady was supposed to sign on the 6th, which was last Friday, and then we pushed it back to this Friday, but now we're at middle of week next week with the promise that she will be in the house for Thanksgiving.
Good. Thank you.
Hey, Matt, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Ann, I mean, you mentioned in the past about meeting with Seth. Was there any movement on that?
Sorry, I was on mute. Not yet. No, they briefed us on their 2 home buyer assistance programs. And then essentially what we need to do is kind of put that into motion through some of the lenders that they work through. So we don't go directly to Seth, it's through the lenders. We are scheduling the lenders forum, which we will include the lenders that are part of the Seth program, and hopefully be able to get into motion with some of the contractors that we have on our HLB building initiative as they get closer to securing buyers, that we would be able to market it through the lenders to those builders, if that makes any sense. So the follow through is really with the lenders that participate in the Seth program.
Okay, I still think it's a good idea because that additional 7% that Seth can bring for down payment assistance on top of what the city of Houston's doing.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Director Stone.
More of a comment than a question. Just kind of building off previous conversations. I think it would be really helpful if somehow we can incorporate where our impact is when we're giving out these reports from the dashboard. Like it's really helpful to know, like, and of course there's stuff in the report about how many homes have been sold and, you know, how many lots we're acquiring, but I want to know where in terms of, you know, our inventory and impact. Maybe it doesn't have to be done every month, but I think it would just be really helpful to show the impact of what we're doing by saying that not just this many lots, but this many in Acres Home and this many in Sunnyside, et cetera, et cetera. I think that that's a really important question to answer so we can ultimately celebrate this impact, ultimately citywide, but I think the neighborhood level would be really powerful to see.
Makes sense to me.
And I have some other suggestions we can discuss offline that's more like specific, but I just wanted to say that I can see all the great work. I just would like to know what community are we talking about?
Okay. Thank you.
I agree, especially by completed communities.
Yep. Good thought. Thank you. So Courtney's coming back in. Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Hearing none, we'll move on. Item number 7, board action items. So at this moment, I'm going to pull items 7E and F from the agenda. We've been able to extend the contracts on both these items for the housing department, and we're still waiting some results from the environmental reports. So we will address these in the December meeting, but these items will not be addressed at the November meeting this month.
That's what's the item again?
7E and 7F is the authorization for the acquisition of 2 properties.
And 7F, got it.
Yes, sir. Okay, so moving on to item number 7A. Consideration and possible action to approve the program committee recommendations for new builders for potential property transfer and construction of affordable homes through the Houston Land Bank Housing Initiative.
I move for approval.
Okay, motion made by Director Lampley. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Director Mondragon. Any questions or discussion?
Do you mind reading those into the minutes?
Yes.
Thank you.
So the motion on the table is by Director Lampley and seconded by Director Mondragon is to approve the program committee recommendations for new builders for potential property transfer and construction of affordable homes to the Houston Land Bank Housing Initiative. The first is Birdson Services, LLC, DBA of Excello Homes. The second is St. Bernard Project, Inc., DBA SBP, Inc. The third is Nelrod Properties, LLC. The fourth is Lawrence Builders. The fifth is LIZ Enterprises. And the sixth is Europa Homes Corporation. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any opposed? Hearing none opposed, motion carries. Item number 7B, consideration and possible action to acquire 2 parcels in Sedegast at 0 Bobby Burns, or 2 HCAD numbers at 0 Bobby Burns. I'll read the number once the motion, if we have a motion. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Director Galloway. Is there a second?
Second by Director.
Second by Director Jackson, I believe.
Yes.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, the motion is to approve the acquisition of 2 properties in Sedegast. Number 1 is 0 Bobby Burns, HCAD number 012-184-000-0004 for $8,500. Parcel number 2 is 0 Bobby Burns, HCAD number 012-269-000-0004 for $8,500. And we'll call to the vote. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item number 7C, consideration and possible action to direct staff to secure financing not to exceed 70% of estimated $9.16 million costs, the possible acquisition of 6.8 acres in the near north side of Houston, for the City of Houston's new home development program under the auspices of the acquisition and development agreement. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion. So moved.
Second.
Sorry. Who made the motion?
Director Danda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Who seconded? Sorry.
Mr. Castillo.
Okay. Director Castillo. Discussion.
Jackson.
Yes.
Go ahead,
Is
Director.
this some of the property that we discussed on last week?
Yes, ma'am.
Was this one of, is this the one where it had the contamination? Which one?
So if we're going to speak about environmental or any qualities of the property, I think we need to move into executive session because that may affect the negotiations. So let's.
Okay, well, could we just table this until after executive session?
No, ma'am. Let's move into executive session now, and then we can talk about it and discuss it and come out.
Yeah, and while we're in open session, I want to clarify that this is the action is about financing the acquisition. It is not the acquisition itself, and similar with item D as well. So just to clarify.
I'll reserve my question for executive session.
Thank you. So
let me just do stop share so I can actually get, so are we, is there a motion?
we need a motion to move into executive session. Sorry.
We need a
Yes, I
motion?
made that motion.
Thank you, Director Galloway.
Second.
Second by Director Lampley. Discussion on the motion to move to executive session.
And just to clarify, this is a request to the board that we have attendance from the Housing and Community Development Department, who is very involved both in the terms of the property and the terms of the acquisition financing.
Okay. I believe that is appropriate. Hearing no more discussion, vote to move to executive session.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. Let's move to executive session, please.
Okay, I'm going to pause the recording and I need to we'll go into the breakout session. If any staff who's not supposed to be in the session, please take yourself out of the meeting. And I'm doing my best with the technology here to get us all into the breakout session. And we'll do a check to make sure we have all the parties available in the breakout session.
So we are back from the executive session. It is 1:32 p.m. on November 12th, 2020, and we are back on recorded open session. So the items on the agenda or the item up for consideration on the agenda is 7C. Is there a motion? So I believe we had a motion and a second, did we not, Gracie? You're on mute.
Yeah, I made the motion.
You're still on mute, Gracie.
taken me a while to get used to all of this, I'm telling you. Yes, there was a motion made by Board Member Deonda and seconded.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, the motion to consider is to approve to direct staff to secure financing not to exceed 70% of the estimated $9.6 million cost of possible acquisition of 6.8 acres in the near north side area of Houston for the City of Houston's new home development program under the auspices of the acquisition and development agreement. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
Abstain.
Director Collins abstains. Director Galloway abstains. Hearing none others and no opposition, the motion passes. Item number 7D, consideration and possible action to direct staff to secure financing not to exceed 70% of the estimated $2 million cost of possible acquisition of 1.77 acres in the Magnolia Park / East End area of Houston for the City of Houston's new home development program under the auspices of the acquisition development agreement. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion made by Director Lampley. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Mondragon. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. The vote is to approve to direct staff to secure financing not to exceed 70% of the estimated $2 million cost of possible acquisition of 1.77 acres in Magnolia Park / East End area of Houston for the City of Houston's new home development program under the auspices of the acquisition and development agreement. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Abstain.
Director Galloway abstains. Any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. Item 7E was removed from the agenda, and item 7F was removed from the agenda. Moving on to item 7G. I believe Gonzalo was briefing us on this, or?
Yes, Gonzalo.
Thank you, Matt. Good afternoon, board members, staff. I am going to share my screen. There we go. So correct, agenda item letter G or 7G, this to amend the fiscal year 2021 budget. As you recall, on our regular board meeting for June 11, 2020, the fiscal year 2021 budget was approved with the conditions that we maintain our existing external consultants for bookkeeping, accounting, and legal. With that being said, we revised our budget accordingly. We presented those numbers back to Housing Department for approval. After several months of review, we finally heard back. They've asked us to adjust our budget accordingly, and by doing so, they've asked us to reduce our expenses for the year at approximately $278,000. Below, you'll see some of the bullet points listed. So one of the items that they asked us to cut from our budget was the lobbyist. As a result of that's the city's task in doing so. The other item was they opposed the company car purchase and they preferred the route of leasing a vehicle. Much more cost effective for HLB. HLB had also budgeted 2 additional headcounts, which was the communications director and the marketing and sales manager, and HCDD decided that was not approved as a result of it's not currently needed to maintain our operations level for both programs, the new home development program and the HLB traditional program. And lastly, HCDD rejected the idea of keeping the external consultants for bookkeeping and accounting due to being more cost effective by internalizing the position. With that being said, I'm moving down to the page here. As a result, you'll see here our numbers. Again, the $7,951,000 with 416 was what was approved in the June 11th meeting. Here you're seeing the cost cut or the expenditure reduction of the bullet points I just described. Our new proposed final budget for the fiscal year 2021 is $7,673,000 with $174 in the expenditures. And with that being said, as a result of the Houston Land Bank's operation, for the most part, our revenue is tied into our expenditures. If we spend it, we get reimbursed using TERS money. If we don't spend it, we don't get reimbursed. With that being said, there is no change to our fund balance. It still remains the same. All you're seeing, again, as mentioned, is a decrease of approximately $287,000. And that's what you see here on this table. This is this column here of fiscal year 2021 approved board budget. What was approved in June 11th, and now this with the new changes that we're proposing here. This is what it would look like. Any comments, questions, or go ahead, the approval?
No.
I have a question. Mr. Collins, do you have a question?
No.
No, I have a question. If you would scroll back up to the first page, bullet number 4.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Bullet 1, 2. Yeah. Bullet number 4, regarding the rejection of keeping the existing consultants for bookkeeping and accounting. That is that's, I thought we approved that in our budget.
That's right, we did.
We did approve that, and the city is saying that they don't approve it for reimbursement. So basically what I'm hearing from city, from the housing department is that these 4 items are things that they don't, or 3 items, then the change of the vehicle are things that they don't necessarily believe they should be paying for out of their bucket of TERS funds, and they want us to pay for it out of our bucket of TERS funds if we want to keep them around.
Okay.
Matt, can I also comment on that if you don't mind?
Sure.
Again, Anderson. So essentially all the funding related to HLB comes from the program, the division that I manage, which is single family. And I guess I can answer all of this decision making in one general statement. So the reality is every division within the department get an allocation from TERS funding every year. So the department gets a lump sum TERS funding, and then every division needs a look at, and they put forward a proposed budget as to how much money they need from that TERS funding to support the needs of the division. And realistically speaking, where it stands right now, the amount of funds that's coming to my division for TERS, it's not sufficient to support most of the activities I need to do in my division itself. And the bigger challenge I have is and that's an approximate. I'm gonna have to run the numbers. If I'm not mistaken, at least 60% of the single family TERS budget actually goes to Houston Land Bank. So which means I have about 40% to actually deal with city related activities within my division. So I really had to look at those numbers in terms of what is the most cost effective for us. And that's how most of those decisions were made. For example, the accountant position, it was cheaper to have the accountant on staff rather than having them outsourced. So that decision was made based on that, because that lowered the amount of money we needed to pay out. And all those decisions was made based on that. And it was really about me trying to figure out what are mandatory costs that I can actually get approved this year versus what is it that is not mandatory. And the same was done not only for HLB items that we pay for, but I had to do the same exercise for my internal items within my division itself, simply because there isn't sufficient money to go around.
Let me make a comment, Matt.
Go ahead, David. Thank you.
With regards to consultants, I'm curious as to why housing is commenting on this. We control our budget and we submit a budget, and if they don't want to reimburse a specific item, that's fine, but we have funds coming in from other sources. So I'm curious as to why this all popped up all of a sudden.
And David, I know someone in your team will answer that, but from our side, I guess the response is that's always an option that we provide to Houston Land Bank. If it's something that we cannot cover, but you all actually have funds available that can cover it, I mean, absolutely, there is no problem. Because at the end of the day, we are a team, and we have to figure out how we work together as a team to ensure that both needs are met, both the city side and Houston Land Bank side. So definitely, it's always recommended if there is something for one reason or the other, whether it's because we simply just do not have enough funding, whether it's something that it's an ineligible expense based on our governing documents, it can always be funded from the HLB side if you guys do have the funds available.
Well, but it's just strange that we have never had this situation before, and it's rather strange. That's all I got to say.
You're correct, David. And this item that we're considering now is really a reconciliation of the budget to housing's approved budget. But the three contracts, the lobbyists, the accounting, the bookkeeping, are all currently under negotiation right now. And I believe will be on the December agenda for separate consideration.
Yep.
We just have to consider which pot of money we're going to pay for these out of now.
So there's four items.
I think we should have more discussion on this, and I look forward to it.
I believe you're correct.
There's four items, Matt. You mentioned three.
I mentioned the three contracts. We haven't considered a contract for the car yet.
Okay.
And actually the car purchase versus car rental, we've actually already determined that the car rental makes more sense for us anyways. So I think that one in particular, we can talk in more detail, but we've accepted that because I think we were heading towards the car rental anyways, which was more cost efficient for the organization.
So the action today is to vote on the acceptance of this item, and then we will discuss the other three items in a future date and time.
Yes, sir. And yes,
Yeah.
correct.
With contracts that can back up.
Okay.
Mhm.
Any other questions? I believe we did not have a motion on this one yet, did we?
No.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we realign our expenditures based on the 2021 budget and the information that has been presented to us.
Thank you, Director Lampley. Is there a second?
Second, Director Danda.
Yeah, I got a question, Matt.
Yes, sir.
With regards to the library, and housing approved that last year. What happened?
So housing has not approved it. We approved the budget, and housing has just now, or not just now, but has now presented amendments to that budget.
Well, that's unusual. But anyway, that's fine. Thank you.
I do not disagree with you.
Chair's eyes.
So what now?
Who made the second?
Director Deonda. And Director Collins, I do not disagree with your statement.
Okay.
Also, when the budget approved at the beginning of the fiscal year in July?
It was approved by this board, but it was not approved by the housing department.
So when they presented their entire budget for the city in June, this was not included in their budget because they have to have a budget for the fiscal year beginning in July 1st.
It certainly was.
No?
This is a portion of the housing department's budget from Anderson's budget.
Yeah, but the housing,
Go ahead.
and the housing override over the house overall budget. Every department budget go before city council in June to be approved beginning of the fiscal year in July. Did they not have that? And this was included in their budget that they approved, the council approved for the entire city?
So I can take that question, Anderson, again.
Okay.
So when we take our item to council, it's taken for the entire amount of TERS funding that's allocated to the city department. And then it's also determined which is an exercise I literally just completed for this fiscal year, and it hasn't gone to council, but it should be going to council somewhere in December, if I'm not mistaken. But what happens when they take this entire allocation to city council, then it will also be taken based on division. So for example, I manage single family division. They will say of the X amount of dollars, Y amount of dollars goes to single family, Y goes to multifamily, Y goes to compliance team, Y goes to whatever. So it's really approved at that global level. But you are right, it is also approved at the next level, while council is not approving it based on every individual appropriation it goes to. It's approved at that level because in order for the finance department to say how much money goes to single family, I would have to tell them internally, when I send you, let's assume I'm just going to pull a number, $4 million is the amount of money that single family needs from the TERS funds. Then I will have to tell them of that $4 million, $3 million is for HLB, 500,000 is for legal, 200,000 is for whatever the case is. So essentially, yes.
Yeah.
Anderson, hold that point. Hold that point.
Right.
The budget was approved by city council. Then if there's any changes in the budget, it has to go back to city council for approval, right?
That is correct, David. And this particular item is going to city. So let me backtrack to give you all some more perspective. So last year, there was a request from HLB for $3.65 million to city. We approved $2 million, not because we did not want to approve 3.65. We only had $2 million available at the time. So that's what was taken to city council for FY 2020. So city council approved $2 million. As it stands right now, of that $2 million, HLB should be running out of funds any day now, because I think based on our projection, it should be done in November. So as of December, you all will be out of funds. But this budget,
Clarify, we're not out of funds, meaning our bank account isn't zero, but we wouldn't be able to get our monthly costs reimbursed by the city.
correct. That's really directly related to the funding component that we give to you guys. So what happened, David? So of the $2 million, you all asked for $3, and that's one reason why we at this point, you all doesn't have enough TERS funding, because when Ann did the budget last year, she did budget for the entire fiscal year, which was at $3.65 million. Had she received $3.65 million, we would not be having, I would not be going back to council, which I'm going to in December to get more money for you guys, because that would have taken you all the way through June of next year. But because we only approved,
the budget that was approved in June carried us through where?
the one, and let's take it, David, from just the city component of it, because you all have your bigger budget, right? But the $3.6 million was supposed to take you all through June of next year. Because we approved the $2 million and not 3.65, because we did not have enough money, it's only taking you guys through about November of this year. So right now I'm going back to city council with the additional, whatever that total number is, 2.7 million or something like that, so that you all can have funding to continue operations all the way through. And it's kind of slightly similar. The only difference is a whole lot better this year, because last year we weren't able to fund you guys at least $1.65 million. This year it's only just these 4 items, which I don't know what it adds up to, but it's nowhere close to a whole lot of money. So
Okay, well,
in other words,
Anderson, no disrespect. This is all Greek to me, and I need more time to discuss this, but I'll defer to Matt because I'm not going to vote for it.
all right. And definitely you all can look me in those conversations, David. So on the city side, I can participate and contribute towards that discussion if needed.
All right.
Yep, I agree, David. We need more information about this, but we can workshop this later.
So I make a motion that we amend the motion and table this, and we have more discussion, Matt.
All right, so Director Lampley, I think you made the motion. Is that correct?
I will accept the amendment.
Okay. So, and I believe Director Deonda, you seconded. Do you agree?
Yeah, I'll second the amendment as well. Second.
Okay. So the item on the table is the motion is to table item 7G until more information can be researched or delivered by the housing department. Is
Right,
there,
and you and I can have a discussion next week. I'll call you.
with me or Anderson or both?
No, just you and I.
Look forward to it.
All right.
Item motion is to table item G, 7G. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. I'll call a vote. All those in favor of tabling item G? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. In the interest of time, I'm going to pull item 7A off the agenda so we can get
That's
to
great.
board member comments. We've already covered the executive session. Director Jackson pointed out of order.
And you and I will also discuss the last item too next week.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Board member comments?
I don't have any. That's it.
I'm just going to quickly invite everyone. I am facilitating a conversation with Richard Rothstein, the author of Color of Law, and I will circulate the information to Ann. You guys are invited. It will be held on this coming Tuesday. So you haven't read the book Color of Law. It's basically about race and housing and how the government has played a part in segregation. So I'll be circulating that to Ann.
Look forward to it.
Thank you. That would be interesting.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, I just want to wish everybody a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Happy Thanksgiving.
Don't y'all eat too much.
All right.
What else
I
do
will.
we have to do?
It'll be virtual.
Exactly.
Have a great one.
On that happy note, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. My favorite
Director
motion.
Blackley. And a second.
Second.
Director Galloway, thank you. All those in favor to adjourn? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all for your time. Have a very happy Thanksgiving.